owned by private sector, pipeline owned by private sector, and processing unit owned by private sector. We need to see a national oil company which owns this. But working with private sector, outsourcing managers, working with private partners. So this is the kind of mix. Why do you think we have this problem of a dollar? Among other supply constraints, we are talking about the drought, we are talking about the increase of the dollar, or the depreciation of the shilling, we are talking about high price of a barrel of oil. But among others, these private companies which came here like MTN and private banks, whereas they did us a good job to bring us some capital when we needed it, the profit they have taken out of this country is by far higher depleting our dollars. And you don't only deplete dollars to their metropolitan capitals, because I am from that background. I've worked for multinationals. These are not people who have come here to preach religion. They are here to make an extra dollar, and the extra dollar must go home. I salute investors like the Madivani and the who have chosen Uganda as a home. I salute the Aga Khans who can put their money in the region, from Kenya to Uganda and Tanzania.
Rwanda.
They are in Rwanda. They give you a university. They are in health. They are in tourism. There, but there are these multinationals who are only here to take as much dollars as possible.
Right.
And therefore, for us in leadership, the role of Parliament and where government experts are advising government is how much should an investor take out of a country.
Right.
Because if you plow in your money and you've got profit, must you take 90% of profit out of the country?
Right.
Can that country still have dollars? If you are a bank and you are only private banks making money out of these citizens, because every dollar you take out of the country, you are causing unemployment.
All right. We'll look
and for Uganda, you look at the structure of the economy. Yes. Uganda has a very young population. Most of them is a dependent population. Most of them school going. Why don't we see these good investors like MTN and these banks investing in areas of low cost housing, technologies development, vocationalization of education, so that we can see they are really true partners.
Corporate social responsibility.
Exactly. So this is an area we need to engage.
All right.
I have no problem with liberalization. We needed it at that point in time because
we need to rethink
the economy. But any policy which you cannot review after 20 years, then you have a problem. And I don't want to speak as a manager, I want to speak as a leader. A leader thinks beyond justifying the project.
Okay.
I am not here to defend the project.
All right.
I am here to say there are signs of a malady.
We need to review.
And these signs of a malady needs a rethinking.
All right.
And needs some prescriptions.
True.
And for me, that's my line of argument.
This is Spectrum on Radio 1. Tonight, we're asking the question, has privatization done more harm than good? Could this be the time for the country to rethink this process? It's an important debate we're having tonight. You raised quite a number of issues. There are many successes. The new vision is one of them. It was eventually sold on the stock exchange and it's doing excellently, really, really well. You mentioned Kinyara Sugar Works, which was managed by Booker T right from the colonial times, I believe, or early 70s. Sheraton, which was sold to Midrock, was a failure. Of course, companies like MTN, I think their business model, they don't buy properties. They're a little bit like MTN they won't buy Sheraton, they don't buy properties, just a little bit like MTN. But when we come back, listeners are going for a break. When we come back, we'll examine this issue in deeper detail. Exactly how can government provide a rethink of this process, whether it can cap capital outflows so we don't have problems of shortages of foreign exchange and other issues. Do stay tuned.
Thank you for coming to the executive suite, madam. My name is Richard, your executive banker, and I'm here to handle all your banking needs.
Oh, really? Thank you. I noticed you don't have any queues here.
No, Mrs. Asio, we do not.
Oh, wow. You even know my name?
But of course, madam. Today we are offering you a current account with a Gold Visa debit card, home loans with attractive rates, Gold Visa credit cards, and unsecured personal loan.
All that for me?
Yes. In addition, we can offer you internet banking so that you can access our services from anywhere, even your home.
Oh, this is too much. What else will you give me now? Chai?
Experience executive banking at Stanbic Bank.
Excuse me, madam. Your cup of chai?
Ask about executive banking at your nearest branch or visit our executive banking suite in Nakasero Towers, Forest Mall at Lugogo, Garden City, Ntinda, Makerere, Mbarara, Mukono, Mbale, Lira and Gulu.
Stanbic Bank, moving forward.
The art of crafting a jewel, as experienced by the brewmaster.
Under the exacting international standards at Now Breweries, he uses only the finest, most carefully selected grains of roasted crystal malt and sets in motion the delicate process of releasing their full roast. The result is a world-class beer with a fresher aroma, a richer golden color, and a maltier taste. It isn't every day that you find yourself with a precious jewel in your hand and the distinction of having produced it as well.
Nile Gold Crystal Malt Lager, beyond an ordinary malt.
Hi, I've got just 30 seconds to list all the destinations in Africa served by Kenya Airways out of Nairobi.
Abidjan, Accra, Addis Ababa, Bujumbura, Cairo, Cotonou, Dakar, Dar es Salaam.
He's never going to make it. Kenya Airways covers 70% of all destinations in Africa alone and several more worldwide. If you're starting from Uganda, there is no rush because Kenya Airways operates the most frequencies every day from Entebbe to the hub in Nairobi. So you can pick up any of these connections at your own convenience.
Johannesburg, Kigali, Kinshasa, Lagos, Lilongwe, Lusaka, Lubumbashi.
Kenya Airways, the pride of Africa.
Sebo, time's up. Malabo, Mauritius, Mombasa.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90 is brought to you by Stanbic Bank.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. Has privatization done more harm than good? Could this be the time for the country to rethink this process? Our guests tonight, Honorable Stephen Mukitale Birahwa, Chairman of the Parliamentary Committee on the National Economy, and Mr. Jim Mugunga, spokesperson for the Privatization Unit. You'll be able to call in later and contribute to this discussion. Mr. Mugunga, where did this process go wrong?
Edmund, I really do welcome Honorable Birahwa's comments, and I think we're not talking a different language here. I'm not here to defend privatization as a process. I'm here to shed more light on what actually happened. Now, I would say that in whole, I agree with what he has analyzed. Going back in time, then the demand was that we needed to do something, and the current situation then dictated that privatization was the most obvious. Remember, this was not a Ugandan solution. This had been tested. It had its failures in Britain. It had its failures and successes elsewhere. But it was the most viable option to take in an economy like ours. Why am I saying that? The rot in the Ugandan parastatal sector was enormous. We cannot say we shouldn't have done anything because we would have got managers from where? Our managers were as rotten as the system. And we do not miss words on that.
We got some people, Frank Mwine for UCB, for instance.
No. But remember,
with the rural farmers, if I can give information, I still cry for the rural farmers scheme which was killed. A sub-county model, NRM achieved by 1990, and today we are looking for it. Afterwards, you know, it's like throwing a kid in
the bathwater
with that bath.
You see what was happening is the rural farmer scheme as a scheme not wrong. Delivery. Infrastructure to deliver it. Mr. Mugunga, look at the that there. So that's what I'm looking at, and you know what I'm trying to address here is that yes, there were ideas, but did we have the capacity? Did we have the infrastructure to deliver? No. I'll give you an example. We've just cited examples like Kinyara. Kinyara is one of the companies where we are proud that we actually had a viable company to sell. Why? Because we had actually appointed, because we had appointed managers. As he rightly put it, privatization is not about getting rid, but privatization is also supposed to help us add value to existing infrastructure companies so that they do not erode.
Mr. Mugunga, let's get this straight. We're talking about ability to, we have companies that succeeded. We have National Water, locally managed. We have the New Vision, largely locally managed.
Exactly.
What an expatriate there, but largely locally managed.
No. You see, that's the problem. Again, lack of insight. I'll tell you what. National Water, for example, I'll pick on that one. It's one of the companies we cite every day. Do we really see the role privatization performed in National Water? Whereas privatization did not sell National Water. But what we did, we undertook under our mandate what they call reforms in the companies.
We could have done that for the father.
No, because they wrote in the other companies did not even warrant reforms to change them.
Let's understand the mindset, Mr. Mugunga.
If you could allow me.
Let's understand the mindset. It looks like we went overboard. That's the impression. Look at the cotton subsector. The cotton sector was literally decimated because of privatization.
No. Again, you're wrong. The cotton sector was not decimated because of privatization. That was a government liberalization program. You see, what happens in our arguments, we tend to interchange.
But also
Mr. Mugunga, let's get that. Let's look at the figures.
You really have to protect me from this so that I react to the issues. What has been raised are a mixture of issues. When you talk about liberalization, you cannot talk about it in the same light like privatization. Diversity and privatization are completely different from liberalization. Government sets out to say, let me open up a sector. For example, the forex sector. You can't say, because, for example, now, talking about the foreign exchange, because of this big fluctuation is privatization. No, it could be liberalization. Those are two different things. But what does privatization do in the financial sector? We introduce the private banks. We open up to all these players. So that's
but the problem, we forgot to regulate. Talk something about regulation.
No, I think the sector is well regulated. Actually, if you talk about sectors that are well regulated in Africa, the financial institutions sector is highly regulated. Actually, that's why we were in time able to move in when the banks were going under. That's why we turned around. Exactly. It's actually hailed. One of the highly hailed. But let me not be diverted from that. I want to talk about a few companies and then, of course, go to Jagari. It's good that the Honorable has talked about National Water. National Water is because of reforms. We cleaned up the accounts of that company, took away all the debts. Now, if I handed over Radio 1 to you today,
yes,
you're not the chief executive, but I give it to you with a clean balance sheet.
Yes.
All the debts taken over by government, you perform. That's one of the things. But then what else do? I strengthen management and so on and so forth. That's what we did.
Why can't you do the same thing in other companies?
Because you couldn't do it in a company that has inherent problems that are more than a balance sheet. Take the example of UEB.
Yes.
UEB was a huge amorphous company that had failed to master all the three ingredients of delivering power to your house.
Generation, transmission, and delivery.
Exactly. And what do? We say, look, for this company to be vibrant and to exist in a competitive world, what we need to do is split it up. Split it up, create expertise in generation. Let people concentrate on what they do best. Now, if Edmond is expertise in transmission, let him do that. And then, of course, there is the other one who does distribution. Problem was that after we did that, and the investment started flowing into the country, the managers were better, they were well motivated like those in the telecom industry, we get hit by drought. The moment the drought hit us, UEB, all along the three chains had to suffer. So, Edmund, it's very important that we isolate this. Now, on the issue of corporate social responsibility, that's a given.
I would like us to stay focused. You can leave that out for the moment. Let's look at the possibility. Is it realistic for government to get back into some of these entities?
You see, that's why I'm saying that we should not look at one process of government as the all and everything for government. Government has systems in place, and Honorable is aware. For example, the issue of forex. Do you, for example, migrate 100%?
So let's say
wait, Edmond. The reason you migrate 100% is because the Parliament allowed it to be.
Yes.
If tomorrow the Parliament, where Honorable belongs, sets up, comes up and says, look, we need to look at that, it's their mandate. It's not the mandate of privatization to say you can't migrate 100%. It's the fiscal policy they've put in place.
Granted.
If Parliament says, look, we are now rethinking this is what we need to do, they can do it.
If you were to advise them, would you advise them to roll back privatization, get back into some of these entities? UEB has not done very well.
Privatization was supposed to address a need at a certain time, and it has successfully done that. What we are doing now, for example, and worldwide, no, rolling back is the wrong thing to do, because we've generated...
government get back into some of these entities.
Edmond, what I'm saying, as far as I'm concerned, government has done the right thing. What is happening
government
now...
has done right to privatize everything.
What we are doing now is building on to that strength, Edmond. Just listen for this for the moment. What is happening, you have competences in Uganda which were not there during that time. You've attracted a young generation of managers, what the Honorable is talking about, and expertise who are now very competitive. But the most important thing, even
I want,
for the first time,
the time we have is very limited.
Can I say something? I want to start from where Jim has stopped. Any policy is a prescription of the time, the challenges of the time. A prescription 1990 cannot be a 2012 prescription. The privatization brought us this far. There are lessons learned, there are achievements and challenges. Now, the time is now to review policy. And what I want to tell our development partners who are saying every time you review a policy, it's a policy reversal, that is wrong. Because even America itself, when they had their challenges, government came in, even acquired banks, you know, to bring in the economy. What's happening in the Eurozone? The same thing. Now, if Europe is not preferring a euro and prefers a dollar, should Uganda continue with an open door policy to their dollars when there are big economies out there yearning for dollars?
Actually,
these are the reviews.
One could ask, Honorable,
yes.
If, for example, in the States, you have a company that's going under, and the government intervenes and injects money, is that a policy reversal? No,
it's a review.
Well,
no,
let's
exactly. Those are issues. Exactly.
So let's get the context. In South Africa, we have our own America on the African continent. South Africa controls 1/4 of the African continent. They have 9 private state-owned enterprises, and this week they are creating a new one.
That does not mean a policy reversal.
The Chinese companies which are coming to Uganda to do most of the work, we are calling them, and in Africa, they are state government owned. When we brought ESCOM, we brought a government company.
It's a government-owned
company. So what I want to say is that time Uganda did not have the backbone, did not have the finances.
We didn't have the likes of ESCOM.
We didn't even have them. But I'm saying capacity has been built. And that's why I'm talking of a policy review. Please, whoever is calling this policy reversal, that's unfortunate. And I'm therefore happy if we can have experts speaking to government, because everything which comes to Parliament actually has its beginning from experts. If we have intellectual hypocrisy